How have you seen the writing industry change? Obviously, when you first started in the industry, um, pre-internet, and now we have self-publishing where people are publishing completely digitally on the internet. The way the industry has moved in the past, even 10 years, let alone 20, 30, 40 years, um, has been tremendous. What sort of changes have you seen, particularly within the realm of Christian fiction?
Well, I think Christian fiction has become much better. It's become more real and authentic and gritty, like it needs to be. Tells some hard stories the way the Bible does. But as far as the industry itself, the idea that they can publish anything, anytime, because they can self-publish, I don't see that as a positive. I think it's really watered down the quality. So many people who self-publish don't invest in a good editor, in a good cover, in a good proofreader. Sometimes they don't even invest in a good company to make the book look like a real book. What I tell my writers, my writing students, is why pay to be printed when you can get paid to be published? And there's a big difference. I mean, there are self-publishing companies out there. There's some good ones too, and there is a place for self-publishing. I've occasionally self-published in certain circumstances, but if you're trying to break into the business, self-publishing is not the way to go unless you have something very esoteric that's not intended to sell in thousands, but only to sell in the hundreds. The problem is that if you sent the alphabet to some self-publishing companies along with your check, they'd print it. If that's what you want printed, they'll print it. But when you try to publish with a traditional publishing company where they pay you and they take all the financial responsibility, they're vetting you, and it's very hard to get published. Sometimes 1 in 1,000 things gets published, but when it gets published, it's been through that process and it's legitimate. But people often will come to me and say, "I'm a published author too," and I say, "Oh, who published you?" And they tell me ABC Publishing or whatever. I haven't heard of it. I know what I'm going to see. I'm going to see a book with a mediocre cover, very little proofreading and hardly any editing. They'll misspell acknowledgments. They'll misspell forward, things like that. They just give it away. Now, I have to say there are companies that are much more legitimate than that, and they'll say, "Look, this isn't ready, and you need more help." The problem is it's going to cost you. I'd rather see people try to get published and get paid for it rather than the other way around.